It is always a pleasure to be joined by UFC welterweight contender Michael Venom Page, who takes on Ian Machado Garry at UFC 303 later this month. MVP, how's it going?
Good, good, good. Can't complain. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. Now, of course, it's been a wild week in terms of UFC 303 headlines with Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler scrapped and the UFC trying to scramble. Now, Ian wanted this fight on 303 so he could be on the same card as Conor McGregor. You wanted Manchester. So when you see everything happen like that, what's your reaction?
I just find it a bit funny, like just how things work out. I think, like I said, I think he was a bit too stressed about riding on the coattails of Connor. So now that this has happened, hopefully, he learns that these things can happen, and he should just focus on himself. But either way, I'm just glad that the fight's for our fight still on, and we're good to go.
What do you think of the card makeover? I know Connor's a massive star and everything, but some fun additions to the card. So, what do you think of it?
Yeah, no, some great additions, some great replacement fights. And to be fair, I think as a main event, it's a kind of fight that you probably would have been happy to go to anyway if that was the original thing. So yeah, it's good. Obviously, I think everyone's just more excited to just see McGregor back. I'm not sure exactly what's actually happened. I hope he's all good and it's not too long for him to actually return and get back in. But yeah, no, I think the replacement fights are still great.
Yeah, absolutely. And currently, the co-main event is listed as Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez. But I know Ian was pushing earlier for you guys to be a five-round co-main event. Was there any discussion at any point, even prior to McGregor's withdrawal, that you guys could potentially be the co-main?
No, no, that guy. He just talks. So it just says stuff. I don't think he would have wanted to spend any more time in the cage with me at all.
And yeah, why do you think he's was pushing for 5 rounds? Do you think he believes that that would have benefited him? Because you fought in 5 round fights multiple times before.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think he likes attention, so he'll just say stuff. But yeah, that was never really anything that even came up. So again, I couldn't tell you. You have to ask him.
And he's had quite a bit to say. You know, he was saying that he initially wasn't interested in fighting you, and then he's talked about wanting to make an example out of you and how he's levels above. Do you think this is all talk, all fight promotion, or do you feel like he may be underestimating you?
Nah, nah. I think, yeah, like I said, I've said to a few people now. If you think about the time that I actually blew up on the scene, he was, obviously slowly making his way onto the scene. He definitely knows who I am. There's definitely a lot of respect there. He even sounds a lot more respectful than he has of any other fighters in terms of his promotion and stuff. So I think, yeah, he just in general, he's just trying to promote and just make some noise to in the build up of the fight. But he's actually been a lot more respectful than he has. So I think that says a lot.
Do you enjoy that part of the game? Because we know obviously you're a great character in and out of the cage. When you see a dance partner do that, do you appreciate it? How do you respond to that? Because maybe you guys are going to be put in a press conference setting, I believe. So how do you anticipate things folding on unfolding on fight week?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like I said, he doesn't seem to be his usual self. But for me, yeah, it's all fun and games. Like the end of the day, the most important thing is the result in the cage. So yeah, I like to have fun and little back and forth here and there, a little bit of banter. But yeah, I don't overread into those things. I just wanna, like I said, that it's all about fight day. It's all about fight day.
Well, let's talk about Ian as a fighter. Have you been impressed with his UFC run so far?
I haven't really like paid too much attention. I know he's made quite a lot of noise. Fighting wise, again, I've been telling everybody I think he's a talented fighter. Nothing that is that I'd see deem as like very unique or overly dangerous, but he just he's very patient and he's just got he's very well timed. You can see he's very experienced fighter. But other than that, nothing that I deem to need to worry overly about.
What about Ian as a striker? Where would you rank him in terms of the landscape at 170 pounds in the UFC?
There's quite a few, good strikers in the division. It's hard to tell. He's still kind of relatively new, but he's done well. He's done well. So again, congratulations to him. But it's just unfortunate that he's come up against me now.
That being said, what do you think the chances are of him shooting for a takedown?
Very high. I think everybody that kind of comes up to get against me, I have to um, imagine that they're gonna want to go for a takedown just because it does. It's always the same kind of thing. Anybody that has kind of thought about it beforehand, and they're like, you know what, this is just smart for me to kind of not even entertain that. I'm gonna shoot. Or some people they go through the phase of no, their ego gets in the way. It's like no, I can definitely do what guys haven't done so far, and this and that, and then they go down that route. But once they get in the cage, eventually they're like, okay, yeah, no, I have to shoot for that kick. So, yeah, I would imagine anybody that I stand with is eventually gonna want to shoot for a takedown.
Now, when you beat Kevin Holland in your debut, a lot of people linked your name to Wonderboy Thompson. They said that's the fight that they want to see next. And you said two positives don't always make a positive. Now, Ian is considered a striker. You have a very tricky and frustrating style. Do you think there's any possibility that this fight could not be the entertaining scrap people are anticipating just because of your frustrating style? Or do you think with the way you strike, the way Ian strikes, that it's like a guaranteed banger?
Yeah, it's very very different. I would never compare Ian to Wonderboy at all, or even compare Ian to myself. Obviously, we like to compete in the same area of striking, but it's nowhere near the same style. So it's two different things. It's definitely this is definitely a fight that will still be exciting.
And let's go back to your UFC debut a little bit. You had that win over Kevin Holland. I think frustrating is the right word to use in terms of how Kevin Holland probably felt against you. How would you rate your debut? How much would you give yourself out of 10?
I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I know I could have done a lot more, but yeah, I'll give myself probably about 6 out of 10.
When you say that, is it because you didn't get the finish, or are there other things that you were potentially critical of?
Yeah, there's definitely a few other things that I definitely wanted to do better, and obviously getting the finish is definitely one of them. Yes, so much respect to Kevin Hunt because that guy is so tough, but even still, I just feel like I could have done a few things differently and actually and got the finish that I needed. But yeah, I'd say it's still a great first fight considering what people would have even thought. But yeah, so 6 out of 10.
And you had told Chamathker in an interview you did at London Shoot Fighters that you were potentially eyeing Kamaru Usman should you get past Ian Garry. Why Kamaru? Is it because he holds the number one spot, or is there something about Kamaru as a fighter that is interesting for you to fight?
Yeah, I just think that if I'm just trying to make sense of where potentially things could land next. But as I said before, I want to kind of get straight to the top spot. And if it's not gonna be the after this fight, I have to fight somebody that just kind of guarantees me fighting for the belt next. And I think that's a fight that does kind of guarantee me fighting for the belt next. So it's more to do with just the position, obviously his name, status. Yeah, there's a few things, but other than that, it's not a personal thing. It's not like something that I've seen. I just think that's a great fight for the fans, and obviously taking that place more guarantees me to get that belt.
When you look at the upper echelon of the division, because I'm assuming you're not a fight that people will be dying to take, because obviously you are a dangerous fighter. And if you're looking at the upper echelon, they are higher ranked, and often we see higher ranked fighters not want to fight down. Do you think Kamaru would be the most willing one when you look at the top rankings, the Colby Covingtons, etc.?
Well, he's number one. Like it's like saying a title fighter or a person that holds the belt wouldn't want to fight down. That's how it works. It always works that way. In order for somebody new to be able to step up, the person at the top also needs to take on those different ranks. Otherwise, nobody would fight anybody. So similar to even in Gary, putting me off at the beginning, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm ranked way too low." That's just not how things work. And I genuinely believe, obviously, none of these guys are stupid enough to think that. So I think he just didn't want to fight me. It was more kind of like, let me try and avoid it as much as possible. But obviously, we're here.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with a few more questions before I let you go, and I appreciate your time. Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad are going to run things back shortly after your fight. Who do you think wins that one?
Yeah, my money would be on Leon Edwards, but it's very close. Uh, Bilal's done exceptionally well. I think he's gotten better and better every single fight. Very, very strong. I just think just skill for skill over the 5 rounds. I think Leon Edwards just takes that one, but it's not an easy one to kind of bet on.
And you plan on being in Manchester, right, to watch the fight?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'd love to be over there. Gonna go beat this guy up, enjoy myself a little bit away, and then come back and make sure I'm around.
Because I know Leon is a fight you were talking about early on, like right when you got signed to the UFC, the stadium show in the UK and whatnot. So is it safe to say that you would rather Leon win? Not necessarily saying like rooting for him or anything, but better scenario for you?
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I think it just, like I said, in terms of how I've pictured things, that is how things work out. He's still the person with the belt when I get that opportunity to fight for him. So, or fight with him. So yeah, yeah, that's the perfect scenario for me. But like I said, things this world works weird. So however the cookie crumbles is how it happens.
And I know I had mentioned earlier in the interview about Ian's comments towards you. Has he annoyed you at all? Like, how would you describe how you feel towards Ian Gary?
No, no, I don't really have any kind of any ill will, any real malice against him. Like he can be a very frustrating character in terms of like how he portrays himself. I don't, whether that's actually him, I don't know, but he does seem like he can be quite antagonistic. But I kind of see it, and like I've been that guy. That irritates people. So yeah, I'm not too fussed. It's just for me a great step in the ladder that I'm climbing at the moment. So just I'm just unfortunate for him.
Less than a year ago, I was at London Shoot Fighters talking to you when you were a free agent. Less than a year later, did you ever imagine that things would move this fast for you? You know, we're just like a week away from you being part of one of the biggest cards of the year.
No, I'm not. Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, it's just weird how things just unfold and how they actually are. But no, I could never have pictured it happening exactly this way. But I knew things was gonna move quite quickly.
And that was always the plan, right? Like you wanted to come in and make an impact right off the bat, fight the big names. So in a way, it's like maybe it didn't unfold exactly the way you expected it, because sometimes you look back and you're like, damn, like it's been like less than a year and so much has happened. But this is kind of what you wanted, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is exactly how I'm manifesting it all. And again, even this next fight is just part of that thing that I've almost already seen. So I'm just looking forward to coloring in the picture that I've already seen.
How about the fan reception? Like, has it surpassed even your expectation, the love you've been getting?
Yeah, I never really thought about how it would have been before. I kind of just focus on just doing me. I know. Again, I can be quite antagonistic myself. So certain people really don't like me, and then there's certain people that really like me. But to be fair, I think I've swayed a lot more people on this, this early journey so far, especially with that first fight. I think there's a lot of people that just potentially never had that kind of respect. They may have known who I was and seen, but didn't really believe in it. And then after that fight, you definitely seen a big difference in like online, shall I say, just in terms of when my name comes up.
And Ian's been a bit of a heel. Have you noticed people, like, have people been messaging and saying, please take this guy out? Because I've seen a lot of this kind of stuff on social media.
Yeah, but again, like it's not something I read into. Like again, I can see he's quite an antagonistic person, so I kind of understand why people would be against him. But like fans can be so fickle because if he wins a couple of fights in decent fashion, everyone's now talking like he's the hero, and nothing necessarily would have had to have changed on his side. So it's just how the wind blows. That's how it feels like with a lot of especially MMA fans. They can one minute you're the hero, one minute you're the villain. So yeah, I can't look into any of that kind of stuff. There's true fans that regardless of the result, they are still your supporter. Those are true fans. And yeah, that's all I really care about. People that not just the fighting style, they understand me as a character. They kind of have a certain level of respect for me as a person. They kind of look into the interviews, like things like this that we're doing now. They kind of like, yeah, like I really like this guy, as well as the fight. It's the full package. That's when you're a true fan. But it's not just because what have you done for me lately type of fan. Like, it got a knockout, so I'm your fan. Next week, this person lost, so I'm not your fan. I don't care to kind of impress those type of people.
I understand. And then look, it's a great fight between two great fighters, and I think it's one of the most highly anticipated fights on the card. Before I let you go, what does the perfect scenario look like for you? How do you get the job done on June 29?
I go in there, and within the first 2 minutes, I land some great shots and then knock him out. And the reason I say in the first 2 minutes because we don't get paid for extra time. So go in there, have a little bit of fun, show my skills, and then put him to bed, and then on to the next. I go and have a nice holiday from there.
Right on. Well, Mike, I really appreciate the time. I won't be there in Vegas, but I do plan on being there in Manchester. So I guess
Nice. I'll see you then. Yes.
yeah, we'll see you there. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. No problem. Thank you.